Dames en heren, een bijzonder goedemorgen hier op Le Chevalerie. We gaan vandaag verder met de tweede selectieronde voor het WK Jonge Dressuurpaarden. En we beginnen met Floor de Winne. Floor de Winne stelt ons voor Winhorse San Laura. San Laura is een afstamming van Sallenboer maal Fürst Heinrich.
Thank you very much. So a beautiful mare from Saint-Amour, and overall a very exciting horse with lots of natural energy. The trot had a lot of spring, coming good off the ground, nice through the body. What we would wish is that the horse in everything is much rounder over the back. The neck is a little bit too high and the back gets a little bit blocked, so the hind leg can't quite come underneath enough. So in the medium trots, the hind legs were not quite closed enough under the body. The horse was holding a little bit in the back. So this did affect some transitions, but the basic trot has a very high quality, and you rode the horse nicely forwards. The walk needs a little more activity, a bit more, again, suppleness through the back, stretching, going through the body, so that the rhythm becomes a little bit quicker behind, slightly more clarity in the 4-time rhythm. The canter is also very, very clear, lovely off the ground, has a lot of potential, but we really felt that in all your movements, you need to keep your lovely horse just that little bit rounder, softer, like she was when you did the stretching on the circle. Then the horse really and followed the hand, the steps came more under the body, and the horse had even more quality. So it's a really, really nice horse, and just take care of this basic thing, and then you will have a top horse for the future. So congratulations.
Daar gaan we uiteraard niks aan toevoegen, dames en heren. We gaan verder met onze tweede kandidaat voor vandaag. En dat is Katrien Verreet. Katrien gaat ons Obelix van de Kempenhoeve voorstellen. En Obelix is een hengst van quarterback uit de merrie extravagante van de Kempenhoeve van Sungold. Fokker is de Kempenhoeve in Ole, eigenaar Giel en Deborah Proost in Ranst.
So, thank you very much. Really beautiful horse from quarterback, clearly with very ground covering and elastic paces. The horse has a lot of air time in the canter and comes well off the ground in the trot. The walk is also a very, very high quality. So this is a super horse for the future. In the trot, we would have liked that the trot remains even more natural. At some times, when you bring him a little bit back, he comes almost into a passage type of trot. And because he's young and not strong enough, this means he holds himself. He doesn't quite let the energy through his back enough. And in the long term, this would make his training a little bit compromised. So we would like to see that you bring him on in a really natural way, making not quite so much spectacular, a little bit more softer and giving in the back, so that for the future he has a really, really good, clear journey ahead of him. The medium trots, where you rode a little more forward, this was a little bit then better. He really covered ground and very, very nice in the tempo. The walk is extremely good and through the body with big overtrack. He uses himself, and we noticed in the simple change, although a little unbalanced, he still kept his rhythm, and also in the walk pirouette you had a nice rhythm. So the walk is clearly good. Obviously you have to take care because it's so big. When the collection comes, it must be done in the right way. The canter was not quite so balanced. When you started, it was really off the ground, almost too much, and this young horse, he can't quite carry this energy because it's so big. A little bit better on the left rein. On the right rein, he made some mistakes. When his quarters were falling to the left, he was changing behind, but you corrected very nicely. And the canter with more adjustability, a little bit more closing, slightly softer, a little bit more on the hind leg, the canter will be very good. At the moment, he's a little bit between the balance. For his age, he's not always able to carry the energy that he has, but again, needs to be natural and easy. Don't ask too much. Less is more with a horse like this, and he is a beautiful type, elegant, and he listens to you. He's very obedient. So well done. Very, very nice horse. Thank you.
Ja, dames en heren, we willen graag het tempo een beetje erin houden, dus we gaan onmiddellijk verder met Jorito. Jorito is een afstammeling van Baltic VDL uit de moeder van Corleone. Jorito wordt ons voorgesteld door Guillaume Cuvelier.
Okay, thank you very, very much. So, a gelding, I think, from more jumping bloodlines, but you have a very willing horse. He's very sweet and obedient. He does what you ask, and well done for this. For the trot, we felt that the horse doesn't have, at this time in his career, quite enough pushing from the hind leg. He lacks a little bit of elasticity. He needs to really push a bit more, come through the back, be able to go longer and shorter and show a little more adjustability. He's willing, but it doesn't quite come through in all the movements at the moment. Especially in the medium trot, we could have wished for more ground cover and suppleness. But again, he was very willing to do all you asked. In the walk is always regular. He's relaxed, which is really, really important. But he needs to come back a little bit more, show a slight adjustability to come into the medium walk from the free walk, and have a little more activity and self-carriage. The suppleness that he slightly lacks overall in his back, this affects his ability to keep an active collection within the scope of a 5-year-old horse. Obviously, it's just the beginning. The horse needs to show a willingness to collect rather than actually be able to collect. The canter was in parts very, very nice and nicely done, clear in rhythm, but the counter-canter, for instance, you rode him rather on 2 tracks and he lost his balance quite a lot. He needs to track more straight and stay more uphill in the canter because the basic canter itself is actually pretty good. So if you can keep him more straight and upright and a little bit more on and back, more adjustable, then the canter will bring you lots of good marks in the future. But you did a nice job, and he's a very, very willing and very honest horse, so thank you very much.
Terecht applaus, dames en heren, voor Guillaume Cuvillier. In de ring verschijnt ondertussen Don Bravour. Don Bravour is een zoon van Don Index, uit de moeder van Werther. Don Bravour zal ons voorgesteld worden door Bénédicte Ransant.
Okay, thank you very much. So, beautiful type from Don Index, very elegant horse, and the fundamental basic gaits of this horse are obviously good. He has clear rhythm to see in all three paces. The problem for you today is that he really has a problem to connect correctly forward to the bit. The neck is, through the test, getting shorter and shorter. We see often the tongue, and the horse is getting confused and a little bit nervous. So he was not able to produce the movements today, and the self-carriage and suppleness at the back and the forward elastic connection to the bridle was missing, which was a great pity, because we see what a lovely horse you have. You did your best, but today, sadly, there were quite a lot of problems. And I think it's fair to say that 5-year-old horses are not always exactly in the same place for the whole of the summer. Sometimes they start well, then they go through growing stage, and then, like at the moment, he's a little bit high behind, so the hind leg doesn't come quite under enough. They need time. And the young horse classes are always judged very clearly on the training scale, so we have to see the suppleness, the willingness to step under the body and to take the contact forward with a nice soft chewing mouth. So sadly today that didn't quite work for you, but still you have a very, very nice horse, and our advice would be take some time. Don't be in a hurry. Thank you very much.
We hebben nog de volgende combinatie, dames en heren, vlak voor de pauze. En dat is Javea. Javea is een dochter van Bon Bravour, uit de moeder van Crexé. En Javea wordt ons voorgesteld door Tom Franks.
Heb je nieuws voor mij?
Well, we're very pleased that your mare likes us so much that she wanted to come inside the box. So congratulations on a really beautiful mare from Bon Bravour. The highlight, of course, is the trot. There is a huge amount of elasticity. It's natural. The back is swinging, and the whole contact is in a really, really good way. So congratulations on this beautiful trot tour. The medium trot could perhaps have a little bit more engagement, a little bit more clarity, but for a 5-year-old horse, we think you did a good job, and you kept it very natural, and that's really important. The walk is always regular, also in your simple changes, and in the half pirouette, you kept a clear rhythm. The extended or free walk could have a little bit more freedom of the shoulder, a little bit more marching, tiny bit more ground cover, but there's nothing wrong. It could just develop a little more without making the horse nervous. The canter is in a clear balance. It has a nice carriage, nice off the ground. We felt that in the canter, you ride the horse a little bit too much. With the inside rein, she needs to be more through the pole in the outside rein. In all the counter-canter, there's a tilting in the neck. This makes her then a little bit more flat. If you have her more genuine through the pole, then she will keep the carriage in the canter a little bit better. Your give and retake of the rein was good, and the horse is clearly in a very nice way, very nicely ridden. So congratulations, super.
We gaan verder met onze volgende kandidaat in deze klasse van de 5-jarige dressuurpaardenselectie voor het WK in Ermelo. En in de ring heeft u zien verschijnen Givano. Givano is een zoon van Everdale uit de moeder van Vivaldi. Givano wordt ons voorgesteld door Cara Bosman.
Takes you for your dogs. For your dogs. Met de hond wel. Zit de hond in het bad?
Okay, thank you very much. Really nice horse from Everdale. He has a lot of the qualities of his father. This slight tendency for quickness and activity, which is really good in the long run for training the horse to a higher level, and he looks really workable. In the trot, we felt that, unfortunately, he didn't always have quite enough elasticity and ground cover. He is active, he's always regular, but the frame is a little bit short in the neck sometimes, not quite enough over the back. And in the medium trot, he was a little bit wide behind. So he looks strong, but he's perhaps not quite engaged and strong enough yet. But the trot has a lot of quality. It's just, it needs more suppleness, looseness, more ease and ground cover, not quite so hectic. And this comes from the frame, okay, that if he takes the rein a little bit more forward with a little bit more elasticity, the frame becomes much more adjustable and the strides don't hurry so much. The walk was always regular and marching, going somewhere, easy to collect. You know, this is a really strong point. For a young horse in a 5-year-old class, perhaps we could wish more ground cover, more freedom of the shoulder, and that when you collect him, that he takes that softer frame again, not that he goes a little bit short in the neck. The canter is his highlight. It is a good canter with a good mechanic, but at the moment he doesn't really collect. You go and he holds his frame a little bit, and when you ask him to collect, it takes you a long time to get him back, and then he's a little bit tight in his top line. He doesn't quite let go. He needs to carry the collection like he can carry a bit more energy. So he needs work on his downward transitions, preparations for the simple change. He doesn't make a mistake, but he's just not 100% there yet. So overall, you did a good job. He's a very, very nice horse. I think one with a nice future. But for this 5-year-old class, you need to pay attention a little bit to this elasticity, the frame, the suppleness in the back, and a little bit rounder through the neck, not quite so short in the neck, more adjustable in the top line. But good horse, well done.
Volgende kandidaat, dames en heren, in onze ring is Origi. En Origi is een afstammeling van Don Frederik, uit de moeder van Jess. Origi wordt ons voorgesteld door Floris de Koning.
Okay, thank you very much. A very honest and willing horse, very soft and very nicely ridden, not over-pushed in any way. We would have wished in all the gaits that he's a little bit quicker behind, a bit more active. The mechanic of the hind leg is sometimes a little bit slow and a little bit out behind you. We had the feeling in everything that he needed to be more in front of your leg, a little bit more pushing, carrying behind, with more preparation and adjustability in the transitions. For instance, when you go from canter to walk for the simple change, he should close and sit a little bit and then walk. But he went from a rather long, slow canter on the forehand into the walk. The walk steps were fine, but he needs to show an acceptance to collect a little bit more for these difficult transitions. The overall in the walk, he was relaxed. He lost a little bit of rhythm when you made your pirouettes. The second one was much better. And for instance, in the rein back, he needed to step under and wait in the halt as though he could go forward and then you take him back. But he didn't really halt. He was already wandering a little bit back and then not in diagonals. So it's this connection, the suppleness over the back to get the hind leg a little bit quicker and more pushing. But we appreciated that you rode him in a very quiet way. You didn't overdo anything. He was nicely balanced in some moments in the basic canter especially. And it's a very nice horse, very willing horse. So you did a good job, and your last centre line in canter was very nice. Thank you.
En deze mogen we nog snel even aankondigen, dames en heren. Katja Smits stelt ons voor Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow is een zoon van Desperado uit de moeder van Negro.
Ja, oké, maar voor mij was het nog niet zo.
Thank you very much. A really elegant horse from Desperado. We really appreciated in the trot the regularity and activity. The horse was in a very nice frame. Sometimes the mouth a little bit unsteady, but overall very soft and swinging, very natural. The walk was mostly in a good way, very purposeful from the hind leg and showing freedom and ground cover. There were moments where you lost it a little bit. The second walk pirouette was not so good. The simple changes also showed the walk was just not that it lost rhythm, but he wasn't in quite the right balance. I had the feeling you hold the half halt a bit too long. You need to let him through a little bit sooner so he can take himself through the back and forward for these difficult downward transitions. And in the counter he could have maintained a little bit more jump. But overall, what we appreciated was that you showed clear transitions going and coming back, and the horse has a lot of natural athleticism and natural self-carriage, just occasionally a little bit more suppleness, a little bit more ground cover, and a little bit looser, but a very, very nice impression. Thank you very much.
We hebben nog 2 kandidaten, dames en heren, voor vandaag. Win Horses Flynn is in de ring. Zoon van Fahrenheit uit de merrie van Sir Oldenburg. En Flynn wordt ons voorgesteld door Floor de Winne.
Thank you very much. Really beautiful horse, very elegant, light-footed. The trot is always regular, and he manages the movements quite well. A little bit wide behind in the medium trot, and overall our impression in the trot was that he needs to be more energetic from the hind leg, a little bit more impulsion from behind, and that impulsion comes through a supple back to the bridle, and then the bridle itself, the contact, would become a little bit more secure. He's a little bit coming and going with the contact, and in the end, it's the hind leg that makes the contact, so therefore we felt this would be the way, not to try to make the contact steady from the front, but obviously to ride it more from behind. Maybe he's in that stage where you cannot ask so much, but he does need a little bit more impulsion. The walk was needing to be a little bit clearer in the rhythm. It started a little bit cautious, then a little bit better on the diagonal, but when you take him up again, he needs to let go in his back, really march more, keep a clear forebeat, bit more shoulder freedom. Your walk pirouette, the first one, was quite nicely done. In the canter, his highlight was the counter-canter. So there he really was in a nice rhythm, and he kept his balance. The split in the hind leg was good. So probably in the counter-canter, he's much straighter, so he's able to come under and carry himself more. So it was a very nicely shown here. Obviously, you had a few little problems with the rein back, not a secure halt, and then the second simple change. And overall, we felt that he doesn't really bend enough to the right. You have him flexed quite a lot to the left, but he doesn't show clear, supple bending to the right. So a few basic things needing some work, but overall it's a very a good horse with clear quality, and he's just not quite strong enough to really show that impulsion and suppleness that's needed for this difficult test. But well done, really, really nice horse. Thank you.
Ondertussen, dames en heren, in de ring verschenen Signor Bioli. Signor Bioli is een zoon van Sir Donneral 1, de moeder van Florestan 1. En deze hengst wordt ons voorgesteld door Katrien Vreed.
Okay, thank you very much. So you obviously felt there was a little bit something going on, not sure what. Yeah, I had the feeling it was this. But in the general impression, it's a very beautiful horse, and he has a nice trot. He has some expression and swinging in the trot. Today, obviously, the medium trot didn't really come off. There wasn't a clear difference there. In the test, he was a little bit behind your leg, so that didn't quite happen, but the rest of the trot needed a little bit more energy, but showed some very nice tendencies. The walk was, again, needing a bit more activity. In the extended, there's quite a big overtrack. When you collect him, the rhythm is a little bit compromised. And also when he comes behind you, like in those simple changes, it's difficult for you to keep the rhythm and the activity because he slows and comes behind. But for the reason that you've mentioned, I'm sure that's what was going on. I did say it to my friends here and colleagues. I thought that was your problem, and I'm glad you said it was the same thing. So unfortunately in the canter there were a few little problems. When you were having him in front of you and he was going, the canter itself was in a clear rhythm and he showed willingness. He's an elastic horse, but he needs to be quicker behind, more pushing under the body and staying a little bit more in front of you for the best result of the day. But you still carried on, and it's a very nice horse. Not his day today, perhaps, but that it doesn't always work like that, does it? We know what horses are like, and he is obviously a very talented horse for the future. Thank you very much.